And it should be live. So here we are going to try to figure out exactly how the Hangouts on Air works with the part of the Hot Blog Tips newsletter team. So you guys wanted to know about the link, correct?
That's right.
Okay, we should be able to, from what I understand, now with the events the way they are, we can set up an event and make it so that each week we are on an event.
Wow.
And
how do I mute this? Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm muting me.
We've got a special guest.
And on that, we will have the same link to our Hangout each week is how it should be working now. I'll have to check it out because we haven't tried it yet, so I wanted to kind of wait and make sure we could do that.
Well, I can see the Hangout in my stream now that you've made it public.
Okay.
So I could try sharing that.
Yeah.
Let's try that and see what happens. So, hold on.
And like on my end, since I'm running the Hangout, I have the actual YouTube URL right in front of me. I also have the iframe embed code, which if we were going to do this and say post it on Hot Blog Tips so they could watch it on Hot Blog Tips Live, I would have written a post beforehand and then I would go and embed this before we ever started.
Am I back on?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Alright, I think I see how to share it now.
Yeah, it should just be the little arrow down under the Hangout.
Well, I tried that. Hold on. So when you're actually looking at the Hangout, or when you're on Google Plus?
Google Plus, where you see where it's the public Hangout, you should see a picture of Brian and I in it.
Yeah.
There should be right after the Hangout picture where they could actually watch it right there. There should be a +1 and a little arrow there on the left.
Right, got it.
And you should be able to share right there, put in your text, do whatever you need to do, and you'll share with your stream. And that's where we'll watch for questions.
Okay, I'm watching it live on YouTube right now. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's why we're getting the feedback.
Yeah, I just turned it
Yeah.
off. I realized it's got a delay in there, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's how that all works. And like I said, I could embed this immediately before we get going into any blog because we have the embed link. And that way we could send them to a specific blog to watch it live. Or Ben could send people to his blog, have it embedded there. I'd just send him the embed code.
Sure.
We could have it on each one. The only thing is, considering the fact that once this is done, I'm taking it off my channel and putting it on Hot Blog Tips, then once it's all curated and processed, you would have to change that embed link.
So how do we know if someone's listening in? Does it tell us?
I don't think you can see that.
Well, what about that, what I'm looking at down here on the bottom with the, I just lost my screen, but where there it is, where it says people, it's blank right now, down in the bottom left, just above apps. Won't that list people that join in?
That's me, you, and Ben. That's only the people that are in the Hangout.
Oh, I see. It's showing the pictures. Okay, I was thinking there would be a list of people there. So, okay, so we have no idea who's watching us right this moment.
No. And once Ben shared this, now he has to watch his post on Google Plus, because they can post questions there or they can post it on the original. So if you share this, you have to watch your stream where you posted it for questions.
Yeah, I've shared it. I mean, I'll get a notification if people post on it, so I don't think we'll miss any.
Yeah, I just wanted you to be aware that it would, I wouldn't be able to see them on the original, that you would have to kind of watch your own streams.
Yeah, definitely. I've also put it on Twitter as well, just to see if anyone clicks through from there.
I'm thinking we probably shouldn't share this right now. Well, I mean, worry about embedding it in a blog post and that type of thing.
Well, yeah, I wasn't too worried about doing that right away. I just wanted to make sure you knew how and what.
So can other people post in the group chat, even if they're not actually on as a chatter?
You mean in the chat on the Hangout?
Yeah, in the text chat.
No, that's just the Hangout chat.
Okay. And
Now
can
they
other people
could.
see that?
Pardon?
Can other people see that as well?
No.
So
I
that's
don't.
just, okay.
Yeah, I don't think they can, because I know other people have used chat and I've never seen it.
I'm assuming since there's a delay that they're going to be a few seconds behind us, even if they do chat or on G Plus or YouTube.
Yeah, and hopefully they won't go to my YouTube channel, because like I said, it's not going to stay there if I can get it to download and upload good. And that's why I was so specific about having the exact questions, is because by the time I get this downloaded and figure out all the SEO and the jump times and re-upload it, I could possibly be looking 3+ hours after the Hangout trying to get this done. And so if I have the specific questions in the order, I've got a stopwatch I can run, and that way I can mark my times. And it will save me on my end, because if I have to start taking notes because it's way off track, then you guys will be talking and I'll be taking notes.
Right.
So.
Brian, you lost your bar.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to adjust it real quick here. So I guess we're just doing a little test run right now, and hopefully we'll be able to set up maybe a time next week, maybe on Sunday again. Well,
yeah, because I had in my head that it was 11 o'clock. That's what time we were doing it, 11 o'clock. I'm like, oh, well, whatever. I'm late.
How did that work?
Oh, you got an image there as well now.
Yeah, I put up my logo. How's it looking? I can't see it, but we're in reverse.
Yeah, I can see that. That looks all right.
Yeah. And we're going to have to figure out if the times, I know that we had kind of said an hour, but I feel we do not under any circumstances want to go over an hour, and we might try at some point doing a half-an-hour one with just a couple questions, cut it down to the quick, just get on there, answer what we think might be some reader questions, and see if we get more views, because my thought is to get someone to even commit to watch a 5 to 10 minute video is hell on wheels. Most people don't look and say, oh look, an hour-long video with people I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to start that, and then sit through a whole bunch of stuff they don't know.
Right.
So we may try at some point doing short half-hour ones. We could also try like your one thing where each of us comes in with a hot news tip for the week, whether it be a new plugin that's out, new something, so it's fresh, and then try that. I think we're going to have to try several different things, because as I watch these Hangouts, some of them are really freaking boring. I mean, I turned out, and this is why I was so persistent on the short, snappy, get in and screw the intros, is because some of these, their intros, you're sitting there for 3 to 5 minutes watching them introduce people, and honestly, I'm not going to sit and watch that. I don't know. I can't get into their YouTube channels to see what their drop time is.
Well, I think if we just stay ourselves, you know, like last week we really had, I think it's pretty entertaining, the four of us just going back and forth, and as long as we don't try to get too formal, too stiff, you know, we can keep our personalities going and stuff, and, you know, and me being the most suggested one of us, you know, so.
I don't know about that.
Brian is so abrasive, you know.
Mm.
So do you guys have any idea? I don't know how many Hangouts on air you watch. Do you have any ideas of things that you like about them, don't like?
This is my first one.
You've never watched one?
Only the ones we've been in. I've never seen a single one, never participated in any of them, ever.
No, I mean, I'm the same as Brian. I've not watched them. I've not talked in them. So who knows? I might go and watch some now.
I was invited to Kim's, and I think she changed the time to Wednesday, but that's one of the issues too. I can't do anything on the weekdays, as you know, so I need to find something where somebody's going on a weekend. How do you find Hangouts? Somebody in your stream just shows up on the...
Hangouts, some are public, and like I said, when you go in those, you're taking your... You might want to get your blinders ready just in case something happens. Usually they're by invite, because a lot of people have figured out they don't want to have people coming in that they don't know. And I see a lot of them because the people I follow on G+ do that stuff. That's what they do. They do video, they do Hangouts, that kind of stuff.
And this ties into events somehow. That's something new that just happened, and I noticed that Kim invited me to a Hangout, and it automatically appeared on my calendar, and even sent me a reminder through my email. So, and that may be something that we can do with a guest, but we really can't do that to people that's not going to join, just to watch. I mean, for us to send an invite, can we send an invite for them to view us, or is that only for participants?
It's brand new, just the other day, so I haven't tested it out much. The only thing I can say with events is I don't want people's garbage events on my calendar. I have my calendar with my things on it. So you have to be very cautious with the events, because people are going to start blocking you. All of a sudden they've got their calendar all set up with the things they personally put on there, and when an event gets sent, it automatically goes on their calendar. So we could try it, but we'd have to be very, very cautious.
Not like
and just do it for us four, and then that way you have the link and a reminder. But yeah, I don't want their events on my calendar. It would be better if they could send out an invite, and then you could click a button and say add to my calendar or ignore, rather than it automatically going on there.
Well, mine, I went on there and said I couldn't, so will you be there? And I said no. It still went on my calendar with a line drawn through it.
Yeah.
So
Now,
it still made it on there, but...
Now think if you had 100 people that were doing events, your calendar is now full of things that you don't want anything to do with.
Well, did you happen to see the rant that, who was that, Stoble did? The video?
I don't follow him.
No? There was a couple of them where people were really upset. Hundreds of events, and one of them, I think it was Stoble. One of them, Google even went on there and addressed it. So said they were working on a fix for that. So that's a good idea though, where you could add it to your own. They shouldn't do that automatically. So
yeah, I think it should be you add it on your own, just like when someone puts out a webinar or any kind of post announcing that. I don't see why it would be so hard to just put a little button, add to calendar, right there.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's probably what they'll come up with.
Yeah, because I know I got a couple, and that was more than enough for me because I didn't want them. But I think most of my people kind of figured it out because in my stream, different people were saying, holy smokes, didn't know it was going on your calendar. And that's... Now, if you want to turn off your email notifications, you can do that right from your profile account. It'll still go on your calendar, but you won't get the email notifications.
But you'll still get the little thing in your Gmail, the little red 1 and 2 and 3 and all that stuff.
Yeah.
If you're using, when you're on Google property or whatever we call it. This, I was answering the door for the little neighbor girl, but you were talking about sharing, and I missed that. But I think I see it. So we would share this post just like we would any other post. Is that right?
Yeah. You would serve yourself better if when you shared it, you actually wrote some text in there and maybe gave the topics and who was in there, just so people would know what is it about. Because I just named it HBT1, which isn't very explanatory. So if you wanted to share it and you wrote, some little note, like anything else on Google Plus, I'm a firm believer in put in your damn text and tell me what it is.
And then for you to share that on Twitter, Ben, I guess after you shared it, you just go to your profile and click on the time or whatever, and that'll give you the link.
Yeah, I mean, what I did first was I shared Cheryl's post onto my Google Plus stream, and actually I just checked, someone has +1'd that, so maybe there is someone listening in. That'd be good. And then as you say, I copied the link, put it on Twitter, and just said, come and have a listen. So it's a bit of a shame that we don't actually know if there's anyone listening in, but it would be nice if there are people listening in, if they leave comments and stuff, so we know.
And when you share that, you take out the extra U and O, correct? So that anybody, even non-logged in, can get to the Hangout?
To be honest, I did not know about that.
Whenever yeah, because if you click on the time and get the individual post, and then you take out, sometimes it'll have a bunch of stuff, but if you take out the U and the O, it'll let people that are not logged in, at least that's been my experience, be able to see the post. I don't know if it still works, but that's how it was in the beginning, so I've just stuck with that idea.
Okay, I just took out the U and O and it still shows, so... I didn't know that either. I think I've heard it before, but I forgot. I think it was... Did you put that in the newsletter?
either in the newsletter or I wrote a whole blog post about it. I don't remember.
Yeah, I have a horrible memory, but yeah, that, or you might have even told me. Okay, so my next question is, okay, Ben shared it on his profile, and he said that they 1 plus it's not showing 1 plus on the original on your profile.
It only shows the pluses and the forwards and the comments are per post. So if someone does something on the post you made, Brian, Ben and I, it won't show on our post. It will only show on yours.
So we won't know if anybody comments on Ben's share other than if we're on his profile?
You'd have to go and look at it.
Ben can watch it.
Okay, so if we share it, we just watch our own. It's a shame we can't integrate all that together. Or have a live stream right here, you know, on the left column to where people could come on just like conferences.
Well, I think we should. I mean, we should probably make a note of a few ideas because I know that they do listen to feedback. So
yeah, like if you mean write down, because I did that last week. I did it in Crayon, but apparently I thought for sure we scheduled this. I thought we all agreed to schedule it at 1 o'clock, and I guess that got confused. Was it Mitch? One of us said that we didn't even have a time set, and I thought we pretty much set it for 1 p.m. on Sunday last week.
Well, when Mitch said he didn't know because what time we were doing it, because he had mentioned he had to get his wife, that's when I said, are we sure we're going to do it then? And then, of course, I said it in my head that we were doing it at a different time because, well, I live over here on the far west side, and I just don't keep up time with y'all.
Well, you're very far to the west if compared to Ben way over there. Are you in the east, Ben? Is that what they consider?
Well, I'm not in the US, so I'm not sure which side you call it. But yeah, I'm on the east side of the US, just not in the US, if you know what I mean.
Right. You're way east.
Yeah.
I thought I was east.
No, I'm in the middle. Australia would be way east.
Yeah, so maybe you are west, depending on which direction you take off on the plane. So, I'm completely missed that about the train. So that's I didn't know anything about that. So when that was mentioned last week, I didn't pay attention. Apparently.
That's not bad.
Well, we could try and stay to the same time each week. So if we did 1 o'clock, I think it's East Coast, and then 6 o'clock for me, then we could try that again next week.
I think we'd better off staying with the exact same time so people would know instead of just happen to watch their stream the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean that's not a weekly trip that Mitch's wife does, right?
I have no idea. I would think not.
So as long as it's okay with Mitch, then right now we can go ahead and plan on 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time for me and Mitch. What is that, 10 a.m. for you, Sheryl?
Yep.
And
not 11.
And then 6 p.m. for you, Ben?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so let's go with that then, and then we can keep them same topics. Those look like good topics that Mitch came up with, and under an hour. So Mitch can do the intro, and then like maybe 10 minutes per topic or something. What is there, 4, right?
No, it's 5.
Is there 5? So you can do your egg beater timer thing there, Sheryl, and keep them under 10 minutes apiece, and we should be well within an hour.
Well, Mitch will have to time it because otherwise I'd have to try to chat with him.
Oh, you'd have
or
to
I can jump in and say, "Excuse me, time's up. Move along, boys."
Well, would you rather? I mean, does Mitch want to do the moderating, or or does it
He
matter?
volunteered.
Okay.
He held his hand up. That means yes.
Okay. Plus, he's not here to defend himself, so
That's right. We give it.
he's stuck with it.
Yeah. Do we have, other than, say, next week we follow this, do you have any ideas for weeks after so that we can start kind of getting ideas rolling instead of waiting until the last minute and saying, what do we want to do?
Well, I mean, we're kind of like the newsletter partners, so this doesn't necessarily have to be associated with that, but I was also thinking that maybe we could follow up on the same topics that we had on the newsletter, but that's not really necessary. So that was my initial thoughts.
That would be an easy way to do it, though, because the problem is that if we don't do that, then we're coming up with content for the newsletter. In your case, coming up with content for the blog, coming up with content for the Hangout, and they're all completely different, and that's quite a bit of unique content to come up with.
Right. Yeah, and we can eventually, once we get this thing going on a solid track here, then we can give a tip, you know, and then say for more, we'll discuss this in detail with the rest of the newsletter partners at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. Join us or watch us on Hangout, Live Hangouts.
Yeah, and we can try it and see how it works. And I mean, it might work, it might not, but I think tying it into stuff like the newsletter and the blog means that everything is all linked together. Another
thing that I can do, another idea I just came up with, because that's what I do, I'm an idea guy, as you all know. But say that I got a tracking, I don't know if you know this, but I have a little small tracking website with short URLs. If I set up a tracking link that went to just a, you know, temporary page or whatever, I can always edit that, so I can change it. So if we want to link to our next 1 o'clock hangout in advance on the newsletter itself and tell them to go to this link at this time, I can always, once we get it started and I get the link off of there, I can always go in there and adjust it during Hangout and get that going. Another option would be to have people sign up for an advance notice list and have them sign up for weekly, you know, so that they would be sent an email each week as a reminder. Or I could just send it to the entire list. Any thoughts?
Okay, as far as the same link each week, I have to see how the events run before I know if that'll work. You know what I mean? We aren't going to have the same link to the Hangout each week unless I can get it to work through the events.
Well, no, I mean, even if that link changes, I'm assuming that each week is going to have a different URL. I'm just saying I can edit that link to point at whatever URL I want. So I'll just edit that link to point at the new URL.
Okay, so once we get the Hangout going and you share it, then you could edit your share link in. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Live on the spot, you know, within like a minute after we start, I'll go in there and adjust the link in. Instead of saying, maybe I'll set it up for a temporary page, the Hangout hasn't begun, stay tuned or whatever, refresh in so many whatever, and then they'll be able to click that link and it'll go directly to the shared Hangout link, or the link on your actually I can just put the link right onto yours. I don't need you to share it first, right?
You'll need a link.
But I mean, I have a link right here on yours.
Oh, yeah, you won't need to share. I see what you mean. Yeah. You can share the original link. Yeah. And then if we have specific topics or questions beforehand, then what we can do also is we can either list those in the newsletter on Thursday before. Then if I have the list of questions before Saturday, I can go on, make a little intro video, do a, hey, you know, we're going to be talking about this, this, and this. Be sure to join us 1 p.m. Eastern time. Send that out through the Hot Blog Tips Google Plus page the day before as kind of a little, hey, if you're going to be around Sunday, here's what we're talking about, to give them a heads up.
And
so
we'll know the topics because by then we've already had the 4 different tips. So we'll have our 4 topics.
Right, so that's something I'll need to know if we're going to stick with that or not. But then on Saturday, I'll just make a little short video, send it out as a teaser video like they do with news stations. It won't be very long, but it'll be a reminder to say, hey, here's what we're going to talk about. Because there's a lot of Hangouts you see, and Hangouts on air, well, Hangouts on air mostly, where you don't know what they're going to talk about. And they don't want to sit through a bunch of intros and all this if they don't know if it's even something they're interested in. Just because you say you're going to talk about blogging, I could really care less unless you're going to talk about a part of blogging that I want to know about. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, this sounds good. And then we can put this on the newsletter. We can send it out on, share it. And we can hold off on the list part, and just send it out to the entire thing. But maybe later somebody. I don't know how big it gets, so I don't know if setting up a separate list is even worth it at this point. But that's always an option later. Just a reminder thing, not a whole email newsletter type thing. You know what I'm saying? Well,
and I would think that most of your bloggers are on Google Plus.
If they're not, then they're not paying attention.
They're lame, and
okay, so that's good. And it doesn't hurt to send. I can even send a reminder to the entire list on Sunday morning or something, and say, because almost every list that I'm subscribed to does that already. It's not a huge inconvenience or something. I just delete it, archive it, or read it, one or the other. So it's not like I feel like I'm being spammed or anything, or
Well, I mean, we did just update the newsletter, so we've got less emails going out, which means that you've then got room for the video email.
That's a good point, Ben. And plus, kind of on that note, we can always have, because when we went to 2, then I was thinking, well, okay, that does free up some time. Like if we get something going on, I almost sent out to the list about the events change on Google Plus. So I didn't do that. But if something like that happens, which almost does weekly, we'll probably have enough room or time. And I know this isn't gonna make it easy on you, Cheryl, but you don't have to add that into the intro video. We can always save 5 or 10 minutes for something new or news or whatever's hit within the last week.
We could say 5-minute slots, because I was thinking if we have 5-minute intros, then we have 5 questions each with 5 minutes. That takes us to half an hour. And that's actually a pretty good length for a video anyway, but it means that if we're faster than that, then we've got a bit of time to talk. Because I think if you do 10 minutes per topic, you're already at 55 minutes if you include the intro.
Right.
And that's really long.
Yeah, I agree. I don't watch, rarely do I watch an hour-long video. In fact, that one you sent me last week is very interesting, Cheryl, and I've watched the whole thing. I've even got it on my tabs. I need to go back and watch, because I'm a typical human, my attention span is not all the way there. So within 10 or 15 minutes, I'm listening in the background and clicking here and doing this and typing this, and next thing I know, it's like, wow, I got to re-listen to this whole thing because I just missed the last 15 minutes of it.
See, and that's one that it actually took me, and Ben, what it is it's an SEO Moz video explaining all the new Bing webmaster tools, and they go through each one. And so what I did with it is I loaded it up, started watching once I figured out what it was. When the night they put it out, I opened Bing Webmaster Tools, and I'd go and I'd stop it, and I'd go and check all the sites for that particular part. It took me days to watch that video because I was going and doing all the site stuff while I watched it. I'd stop it, complete that part, and then go to the next.
I found a bunch of things that I've cleaned up on Hot Blog Tips. In fact, I fully expect to get, not as a huge deal, but I think that's what's held Hot Blog Tips down to a 3 page rank this entire time. I expect to see a 3 or 4 pretty soon. That's how much, if not a 6 or 7.
Well,
but, you know, I mean, I had some serious issues on Hot Blog Tips, and I had no idea. I mean, I had posts out with no descriptions. I had things that, you know, we get in a hurry and do stuff, or we'll have a guest post go on there and do it, and you think the guest did it, and then I failed to go and double check it. No alt tags. You told me about the too many header tags. I didn't even know that it was bad to have more than one H1 tag on per page. Well, it's always going to be an issue when I'm showing 5 posts at a time on my index page, so automatically I'm getting 5 there. So I changed all of those to H2s, and I got rid of the H1 even on my logo. So there's no reason for a logo. It's not even a text, an image to even have a H1 tag. So no more H1 tags on hotblogtips.com.
Well, I don't know if you know, but it was, I think a couple of months back, there was a bug. It wasn't Penguin or Panda. It was something that caused a lot of blogs to disappear from Google completely. And at that point, my blog was one of them. And I checked, and you could search for it by name, but if you search for blog tips or blogging tips, it just didn't come up, whereas previously it used to be number 3 or 4. And I went through it, and I talked to a guy I know who does SEO, and we went through and we did quite a bit of work on cleaning it up, and it turns out it was just a Google bug. But I think that kind of thing, cleaning up every now and again, it's a good idea to do it, because it means all you're going to do is you're going to benefit from it.
Oh, yeah, and it's time-consuming. Right now I'm going through my personal blog that was hacked, and I didn't know it. I mean, I had a stream of like 1,000 words of garbled text, and I took a little string of that and Googled it, and a whole bunch of sites were hacked with this Trojan or whatever, and now I have to go in there and fix. I've removed it, but now I have to go in there, and it's taken all of my featured images and removed them. So, and along with a few other things. So I have to go in and it's only like 111 posts or something, but it's still going to be a time-consuming deal. I've got to go in there and update all of those. But there's always a risk with the SEO, no matter where we go. I mean, that's going to affect the SEO on that, but it's just a personal blog, and I'm not really worried about that. If that happened to Hot Blog Tips, I might have to take a day off and just work on it continuously, because I can't afford for that type of negative impact right now. But yeah, that's a pretty interesting topic right there but it's all over the place, and we assume that our readers and listeners now and subscribers are keeping current with all this stuff. But then you get amazed when you start talking to people on Facebook or Twitter. They have no idea. So we may, be the only outlet for people.
That's where maybe with, you come in with a hot news item, like whenever SEO Moz put out that new video, the new Whiteboard Friday, and we could say, hey, you have to go check this out because this is what we, whether it's just me and I'm telling you guys about it, or like in this case where Brian's tried it out and sharing it with everybody, because I have a tendency to think that if we're just asking run-of-the-mill questions, nobody gives a shit. Most of them have heard these things over and over, and as far as why do we do this or why do we do that, if they're too general, that's not going to help too many people. You know what I mean?
Right, like the standard thing is, with the, how many times have we heard bloggers say, post original content and don't, basically don't steal other people's stuff. It's just like stay original and stay unique, and I've been hearing that for years, but that's pretty boring.
And I don't think we want it to be about us, per se, but more about what we've seen or heard, rather than just about us, if that makes sense.
Sure, and we just stay up on Webmaster Tools, Google Plus Blog, SEO Moz.
We've got Ben the Programmer. We've got Ben the Programmer. Do you know how much of that stuff? I have no idea. He sent out a post the other day and mentioned ZDAT or ZDAT, or I don't even know what the hell the word was. There's a lot of stuff that he probably comes across that in programming that could affect blogs that I would have no idea anything about.
I did used to have a project back when I was learning, when I was first learning PHP, and what I did was I actually built a content management system, and that was just basically so that I could learn like the ins and outs and all the bits and pieces that you need to build a CMS. And that's why when I see things on blogs and you look at the source code and you think, so why would you do that? And some of the options in WordPress, I often think, they could be improved. But I mean, it's a big discussion. But certainly, I've seen how a mistake I made on my blog when I had my own content management system. I then made a small SEO change and saw that my blog just reappeared back on Google. I mean, things like that. You learn a lot just from building the bits and pieces.
See, and that's something that I personally know nothing about. So that's why I think that there's benefit into what we know that others don't.
And wow, Ben, I mean, if you might want to consider putting programmer and blogger on quickblogtips.com on your thing, because that's a great, that's a huge thing. I mean, you should be like shouting that to the rooftops, because that's a big deal. I mean, I'm going in there, I'm scared to death to do a database update on my blog, because one false move and I'm done, and here you are being able to type all that stuff and understand what you're reading.
I mean, you do have to be careful, because the thing is, and part of the reason why I don't go out of my way to say, oh, I can do this, is because you get inundated with people who basically want you to fix their blog and do everything on their blog, and it would very quickly get out of control. I mean, I tend to stay away from sort of requests other than the odd one here and there, but I could quickly get overwhelmed with requests, just simply, not because necessarily people say, oh, you're so good at it, it's more just because you know it, you get asked to do it.
Sure, but it lends you a lot of credibility when people know that you're also a programmer.
And that's when you say, okay, I'll do it, here is my price.
Oh, speaking of which, well, I'll talk to you later about that, but yeah, we're good to go with, I don't know if you know this, Sheryl, but Ben's wife does newsletter templates.
Right.
And
I was there last week when we talked about it.
I didn't know if we talked about that on the Hangout or not, but we're going to go ahead and get a nice good-looking newsletter template for hotblogtips.com, or for the newsletter. And then let's see if we can get this in the next 2 issues. So we got a newsletter going out in the morning, right? Or no, tomorrow at noon or something. And then Thursday, I'll send out another reminder to the list on maybe Sunday morning, Saturday night, which is 95 people less because I've kicked 95 subscribers to the curb for not bothering opening anything. So, in fact, that's what the next blog post I'm working on right now is about, keeping a clean newsletter. So that should help with the open rates. Maybe not the click rates, but at least the open rate, which isn't that bad right now anyway. It's very good, actually. But, and we need to double check with Mitch. Is anybody writing this down? Because I don't have my crayon. Oh, good, thanks. But,
Did they take your crayons away?
Yeah, and you know what? It's very hectic having so many people in the house. My brother had to leave. My daughter had to leave with the grandkid. She literally left, walked out the door 2 minutes to 1. She woke up at 12 o'clock. I'm like, I asked you to be gone between 12 and 4:30. Now, I knew the hangout wasn't going to be that lost, but I thought, you know what? I may as well take advantage of this to get some peace and quiet. So she woke up and like, what's your plan? She says, I texted my sister, and I'm like, that's not good enough. You need to figure out something. But we got everything situated, but it was up to the last second before this thing was...
And that is why I was late on purpose, to give her time to get out, because I'm warm-hearted like that.
But I said, I said, more than likely this will be the standard time each week, and I don't want to have to go get a motel room or something to do this, so we need quiet. If I can just make Sadie understand not to bark at every door knock and every car that goes by and all that. But she's taking a nap now, so we're good.
Yeah, but that's kind of life, and I mean, I've got the 2, and so if they bark, I just have to hit mute.
Yeah, and there's something else. I know where the mute is now. It took me a few seconds to find it. It's awful quiet there, Ben. Are you by yourself?
Well, I'm by myself in this room, but there's my wife elsewhere in the house, and my brother lives with us too at the moment, but they're off downstairs just making food.
You must have a wholly different living environment than me. We've got 1,800 square feet, and there's no keeping any room quiet from the rest of them. It's just,
There is when you throw them all out.
Yeah, that's the only option. It's just a madhouse here.
It's not as quiet as you might think, because we live quite close to Heathrow Airport, so we've got planes flying overhead like quite regularly.
Did you say Heathrow?
Yeah.
Hey, I know where that's at.
Is that near the princess and the king?
It is. I know right where Heathrow's at. Yeah. It's over there over there by that part of the map. But I've heard of it. It's on the news sometimes.
Yeah, it's a big airport.
So if I ever come visit you, I'll fly into Heathrow and you can come pick me up.
Yeah, or we'll just say get the tube.
I probably won't go there, though, because I don't like airplanes.
Yeah, it would be I don't know, it must be a 8-10 hour flight from where you are. Something like that.
Yeah, that's way too much stress right there.
Yeah, try going to Australia, it's 22 hours.
Yeah, I went to, I think it was about 22 hours on my way to when I went to Israel, and when I was in the Army, and we went to Paris, I think at Paris, and then right to Tel Aviv, and then on the way back I think I had Athens, Paris, and then, or no, Athens, Germany, and then JFK. Way too many hours. But that's why they serve alcohol on the planes, I guess. Well, I guess we're probably pushing 1 hour.
Yeah.
So.
And I will probably next Friday, somewhere along there, send you all a message and double check what your topic's going to be. If we're going to, oh, next week we're going to do the blogging thing. Never mind. That won't be next week.
So next Sunday we're going to go with the topics that we decide on for the newsletter this week, right? And just discuss that more in detail?
Or are we going to do Mitch's bloggy thing?
Well, I think we should probably, well, maybe we can incorporate that into, I think it'd be good to discuss ahead of time and then promote the Hangout at the end of the tip. So, you know, just, you know, give a paragraph or two on the tip and then say, well, join us Sunday, and we're going to discuss this further with the 4 blogging, what are we, newsletter partners. We'll discuss this in further detail or something. Maybe we can incorporate Mitch's tips into this week's newsletter. That's what I'm getting at.
You mean his blog questions that he had lined up for today? I'm just asking because I'm confused.
I know.
And that's not anything unusual.
Well, I'm just saying, that, yeah, the questions that he has there, maybe each one of us can grab one of those, write about it, you know, in the newsletter, and then follow up on it next week. So.
I'm taking the what is it you about blogging that we like, because I got that one answered. I don't. That'll be quick. I don't like blogging. So that one I've got quick. You know, I got a lot of these quick.
Oh, which one did you want, Cheryl?
I'll take the what is it about blogging that we like, and I'm just going to answer it. I don't like blogging.
Okay. And what about you, Ben? Can you see those? The number 2 is, what do we think about the viability of blogging long term? 3, why do we think there's a major fascination by people making money?
Yeah, I think I'll take number 3, the making money one, because I feel quite strongly about that one.
About making money?
Yeah, or not.
I'll see which one Mitch wants, and then we'll go from there. There's an extra one, but I think that Mitch, I know he's discussed this before on his blog. He'll probably take number 5. Do you write for yourself or others? I know I've read he's written about that, and he can always link to one of his blog posts on that issue. But I'm just assuming whatever he wants. Sound good?
Yeah, so we'll write a bit about the question in the newsletter and then say more in the video chat next week.
Right, and I'll add a link that won't be good until 1:05 or something Sunday, but once we get started, that link will be good. But up to then, it won't be good. So, and we'll just use that same link every week, and I'll just keep updating it every day, every week. Okay, sounds good. Yeah. You're gonna shoot us an email when it's ready, Cheryl, and take your time. There ain't no rush.
Well, there is going to be no way to rush it, because the download and the upload is only going to go as fast as it goes. And this one won't have a whole lot of SEO because it's just general stuff. I'm just going to write something.
Okay.
But yeah, I just didn't want you all going, okay, where's the link? 20 minutes afterwards. And
well, I wasn't going to wait. I was just going to ask you now. Can I get the link right now?
Why, sure you can.
And so I guess we could go ahead and sign off. Ben, can you send me your PayPal or your wife's PayPal, whichever email address, and
Sorry, sir.
And then we can get that rolling, and then you're going to send a tip, Cheryl, and then me and you will have our thing going out tomorrow.
Whenever you want to send it, I'll send you a tip.
I think it's tomorrow, or is it Tuesday?
It's sometime tomorrow, but I don't know what time.
Okay, I think we've been going
Monday, Thursday.
Yeah, Mondays and Thursdays. All right, sounds good, man. This was fun. If we'd had Mitch, we'd have been really fun. So we'll have a lot of fun next week.
Cool. Okay.
Okay,
right.
And Brian, I'm going to yell at you again here in just a few minutes on another Hangout.
Okay. Give me 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah, because I want to grab something to eat. So.
Okay, good. All right.
Okay. Thanks,
All right.
guys. It's
Thank
been
you.
wonderful to share my afternoon morning thing with you.
This was fun. We'll see y'all next week.
Okay.
Yeah, bye.